Welcome back, everyone. I'm Tyler with Leggari. There are endless applications using our products, whether you're coating countertops, floors, walls, art projects, and even doors. So today, we're gonna show you how we took this old boring door and turned it into this. All right, so I'm getting ready to mix up the primer. I'll kind of walk you guys through that process. Always make sure your boards are level, or in this case, a door. Make sure it's level both ways. We don't want that resin running off and screwing up our design. So we're gonna be mimicking this sample board that I did with the matte urethane. Gonna look really, really cool, especially on a door. So this is just a metal door. We've cleaned it. It's already been primed from the factory, but we're still gonna use our WB primer on it to get a really good bond with our epoxy. So I got all the stuff I need to prime: gloves, primer, cup to mix it in, and then you need to add 2 ounces of water, cold water, to our primer countertop kit. So this is enough to do 50 square feet. Obviously, I'm not going to use it all. And then we're going to apply it roller tray in a 3/8 snap roller. Make sure you de-shed this, run it on some tape, get all those loose fibers off. So we'll get going here. So we always want to shake these up first, in case anything's settled. I always like to add the part A first. This is going to be our black primer. So the part B will have the pigment in it. And what I always do is I pour the water into the part B because it is thicker. And then I'll shake that up. So here's our 2 ounces of cold, clean water. And we'll shake that up. That's gonna get all the leftover that's in the part B out. Now we can just mix this by hand. Mix is really, really easy. We just wanna mix it until it's a solid black color. And that's ready to go. So this is a fast cure primer, so it's gonna dry really fast, which is awesome because it takes away long wait times to be able to apply another coat. We can basically prime this, put some airflow on it, and I can be taping my edges while it's still tacky. It's gonna dry underneath the tape. A lot of benefits to this primer. One of the biggest things is the adhesion that you get on smooth surfaces is unmatched to any other primer. It just absolutely bonds like crazy to smooth surfaces. So we like to use this for mica tops, concrete tops, granite, anything that's smooth. This is the primer to use for sure. So just like this door, it's very, very smooth. We didn't sand it at all. And this is gonna create an amazing bond to this door. So I'm just rolling down the middle and then I cross roll it. And we will be taping off these edges because we don't want to build up the edges and then have the door not fit. And so the edges will just be a solid black, which will be our primer. So again, right down the middle, and then we just cross roll. You just kind of repeat that process until whatever your coatings, you got a coat of primer everywhere. And I'll just make sure I got all the edges hit. There's no missed spots, light spots, thin spots. Look at the top, no thick roller edges, anything. So I'll put a fan on this and I'll be applying the epoxy within about a half an hour. Stuff's absolutely amazing. Obviously if you're using fans and stuff, if you're gonna be blowing dust around, it's gonna stick into this wet primer, so just keep that in mind. Okay guys, the next step is to tape off our edges because I don't want to coat the edges. It's going to build up the edges. It's going to be a really tight fit in that door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take yellow painter's tape and I'm going to tape right in this gap here, because once I'm going to have to tape this whole edge off, but I'll be able to follow that gap if I need to cut it out with a razor blade, and it'll be a nice straight line. So that's why I'm going to tape off in there. So we're just going to try to get that right in there. It's okay to tape on tacky primer. Primer's still gonna set up underneath that tape. It's not gonna pull it off. All right guys, so I'll finish taping this off. I'll create a little barrier in here. Anywhere that I don't want that resin to get into, I'm gonna tape off. All right, I wanna show you guys something cool and why everyone loves our resins. I have the product mixed up here. We get asked a lot why we mix with drills. People say you gotta mix with by hand. You're inducing too much air into it. Well, we have a different resin, different formula, so we're allowed to do that. We can mix it however we want. We can add air into it, and I'm gonna prove it to you guys right now. So I got an air hose. I'm gonna put on my safety goggles here just in case it goes crazy. And I'm gonna be adding air directly into this mix. And you guys are gonna see, I'm gonna just add a ton of air. When I dump this out, bubbles are gonna pop themselves. That's why you wear goggles. So we'll just do this for a second. We'll just get so much air into this thing. All right, guys, we have lots of air bubbles in this product. Now, you know what they say, don't try this at home unless you got Leggari products. Now watch, we're gonna dump this out and you're gonna see these bubbles popping immediately. That's not magic, guys. All right, so this thing's just fizzling. Bubbles are self-popping. I'm gonna roll this out and this thing's gonna look like a sheet of glass without torching, without spraying anything, without doing anything to it. So I can tell it's maybe a little thicker down here. So easy way to move product around with the roller is just apply a little pressure. And I can really move it almost like a squeegee. So an easy way to tell if you have too much in one area or not enough, if you don't have enough, it's gonna sound really sticky. So if I just let the roller glide, I shouldn't be able to hear it. It shouldn't make a sound. Now if I have too much product, it's gonna be pushing a bead, and I'll kind of mimic that for you. I'll get a pile here. Right, so there's a thick spot. You might not be able to tell. Just let that roller glide, don't apply pressure, and when you hit that, it's gonna build up in front. That's gonna show you have a thick spot. You need to roll that out a little better. And I'll even show you guys, I'll even create some bubbles, and they'll just start self-popping. All right, so this is basically good. Got a nice even coat, no thin spots. So what I'm gonna do now is just do a quick swirl to agitate these metallics. It's gonna create some really cool effects. Just kind of randomly, just swirl this. So I mixed up the white at the same time that we're gonna be adding our veins with. I've been letting that sit in the bucket so it heats up, and I'm gonna actually pour that out now before it gets too hot and heats up in the bucket and becomes hard. So I'm gonna pour that out now. Over here, I've created like a little dam area. So I'll pour that out here. All right guys, so I got the white here. It's kind of warming up. If you haven't used epoxy a lot, I don't recommend letting it sit in the bucket. Just dump it out right away. And then it'll take a little longer to set up to get that stringy epoxy for the veins. But again, last thing you want to do is mix it up. Maybe wait too long, it gets rock hard, starts smoking. That can happen. So I'm going to dump it out now. It's been sitting in this bucket probably 15 minutes. And if you don't exactly know what I'm trying to do here, it's all going to make sense here shortly. So I'm trying to get it close to as even amount as I can out there. I don't want really thick spots. We'll get all this out. All right, so this is gonna start heating up about the same time the top is. This will kick off a little bit sooner since I left it in the bucket. And then once this gets sticky to where I want it, kind of like a stringy epoxy, we'll start adding our decorative veins out there. But I want you guys to look at the top here. Check out how glass smooth this laid out, even after inducing a ton of air into the mixture. No torching, we didn't spray anything on it, just laid out absolutely beautiful. And the surface is still fizzling, popping all those micro bubbles that's in the resin. Awesome, awesome product. All right, so it's been about, I would say, hour and a half. And again, guys, I left the white in the bucket for a little bit so it would heat up. If you're not familiar with resins, I suggest just dumping it out and letting it heat up by itself. But you'll see if I run a stick through this. So what you're looking for is it to be stringy. See how it slowly drips off? And then when I run this on the black, I'm gonna hold it low. And that's what's gonna create these cool veining patterns. So I'll get some bigger veins, right? And then I'll let it just string off in little strands, and I'll do all my cross ones like I did on this board. So we'll get started. I'm gonna run one diagonal from kind of that corner to about right here. And I'm just gonna kind of wheel this cart around. It's gonna get a little messy, so you always wanna have everything kind of plasticed off. But all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a lot on here. I'm gonna get this into a little pile first so I can get the majority in the middle. Get a bunch on there. Then we're gonna head over here. And we're gonna start letting it come off. Notice how I'm holding it close. Once it gets to the end, I'll kind of go with the flow. So if I keep going sideways, I'm gonna get drips and stuff out here in patterns. So I wanna start tilting that as I get to the end. And I can add more if I want more of a white there. Get a little bit more on here. We'll let it get a little bit slower. So we get more concentration of white there. And then again, just let it run off. So we're gonna be jumping around, doing a couple of those. So we'll do maybe 1 or 2 going all the way across the board, or the door, I should say. So this one I'm gonna go this way now. So I'll start it here and it'll end over there. So we're gonna create bubbles because we're layering thick epoxy over another layer of epoxy, which is trapping a lot of air. So we're gonna be hitting this with denatured alcohol when I'm done to pop those bubbles. So like once that starts to string out, we just kind of tilt that around. So we got that. So now we can run some that aren't going all the way across. And I'll show you a way to, because starting on the edge, we get that solid spot. I'll show you how to start that out here, because if you just dip it and string it out here, it's gonna leak, or you're gonna start with a little puddle, half circle. I'll show you guys how to get them out, get this pattern out in the middle here in a minute. So we're just gonna keep going, random spots. So we need to get a couple out here in the middle now. I think that's pretty close to what we want. Best thing to use, flat piece of cardboard, which I'll grab real quick. All right, so I'm gonna get a couple coming down out here in the middle. And again, I don't wanna just bring it out there and have it start with like a half circle. So I'll start it on the cardboard, get it stringing off. Actually, you know what? I think we'll stop with that because we can always add, you can always add more of these bigger ones. But what we'll do now is I'll start running the just straight patterns all over the place. And so I'll get a fresh paint stick for that. We're just gonna scoop some up on here, get it to where it's just stringing off. And then we're just going straight across, just different directions. So you can stop at any point. You can keep going until you just have lots and lots of fracture veins like we do here. And like I was saying earlier, I'm gonna go and add some bigger spots out here because this is such a big door. I wanna get more of these white spots. So we're gonna add some more of those right now and then see how it looks. Maybe we'll add a little more skinny veins. It's kind of just the look that you're going for. And guys, so I got a little stringies here. I'm gonna try to just cover those up. Obviously, natural right there. The way is just to run a little bit. Again, these bubbles are from that resin being really thick. It's our formula is not designed to let the bubbles pop when it sets up and gets really thick like that. So that's why these aren't self-popping. And it's created from layering that sheet of white over epoxy. We're trapping air in between it. And I mean, I can go around and pop them, but nobody's got time to do that. So we're just gonna hit it with denatured alcohol and it'll pop those bubbles. So I'm just misting the surface, kind of spraying down on it. Might take a second for some of these to pop, but they will. All right, guys, there it is. So what I'm gonna do tomorrow, I'm gonna be doing the matte urethane to really give it that natural stone look. So we'll show you that when we do it. All right, guys, it's the next day. Now we're gonna turn this high gloss finish into a matte surface that's gonna create a natural stone look. So we're gonna be using our WB urethane matte, and it's gonna take a matter of minutes to go from high gloss to a matte sheen. So we don't have to hone it, we don't have to sand it, we don't have to do any of that. We're simply gonna roll out a product and it's gonna make it matte, and it's gonna add a lot of durability to it also. So I'll show you the sample board I did. Pretty similar looks. I think we did pretty good on this one. So this has the matte on it, and you can kind of tell the difference. So if you guys want that high gloss look, we also have our glaze coat, and then we have the gloss urethane. So we pretty much have a top coat for any preference. So I got my top coat mixed up. I'm gonna be using a roller tray, a 3/8 snap roller, just like this, and I de-shedded it by running it on tape to get any loose hairs off. So I'm gonna pour it into the roller tray here. And then I'll just take a minute and kind of really soak this roller up. And I'm not setting it on the door because we did this late last night, so it's still a little bit soft and I don't want to leave any indents in it. So we'll just keep this on the side. Get this soaked up for a minute. It's like I told you in the beginning, when we primed, you can see we primed these edges and we went over it when it was still tacky and it didn't pull any of that primer off. So awesome product, bonds extremely well to smooth surfaces. So we're gonna just matte finish the black edges, and then we'll wind up painting the black side with our WB primer black as well, and then we'll throw the matte on that. So the back side of the door will just be solid matte black finish, and the front's gonna have this cool look. So when we're applying the urethane, it's designed to go on thin. And so we're just gonna work in sections. We'll roll a little bit down the center, and then we're just gonna start cross rolling it. I like to get my top done and then roll my edges. So I'm gonna be applying 2 coats on this. And the awesome part about our urethane is you don't have to wait till the next day to apply a second coat. Once this white haze goes away and it goes clear, I can apply my second coat. And if I put a fan on this thing will dry out and get probably within 20-30 minutes, and I can apply that second coat. So edges are done. Now all I'm doing is just doing a light back roll. I want to get rid of any hard edges, any thicker edges, kind of feather those out and just be really light. That's it. Now we'll just continue that throughout this door. And that's how you take a high gloss finish to a matte sheen. So I'll let this dry out a little bit and then I'll apply my second coat. All right, so now you can tell the white sheen has gone away. It's dulled out. It's gonna be tacky, but we can still apply that second layer. So we're basically gonna do the same exact process. Now this only really works on countertops, stuff like this that you're not walking on. If you're doing the urethanes on the floors, you obviously need to wait till the next day because you wanna be able to walk on it, right? So stuff like this, we can do 2 coats real quick, countertops, art pieces, stuff like that. So again, same exact way, we're gonna roll it out. And again, just down the middle, cross roll. All right guys, there it is, our second coat. Once this dries out, it's gonna be a super cool matte finish. It's absolutely, I wouldn't say indestructible, but extremely durable. Now that's a cool project. Use Leggari to transform any surface and make it unique.